tarde a todos, eu sou Juliana Latari, colaboradora na ONIP e estarei esta tarde com vocês. Sejam todos bem-vindos. É com muito prazer que damos início a mais um Circuito Brasil de Óleo e Gás, onde abordaremos o tema Fator de Recuperação Secundária em Produções Onshore. Esse evento é uma parceria da ONIP com a ABPIP e o Consulado Canadense. O evento de hoje, também transmitido ao vivo, será em inglês, em atenção aos nossos parceiros e convidados. Welcome everyone. My name is Juliana Latari and I work at ONIP. It's a great pleasure that we start another Circuito Brasil de Óleo e Gás with the team Oil Recovery in Onshore, Mature and Marginal Fields. This event is a partnership between ONIP, ABPIP and the Canadian Consulate. To start our program, we are happy to invite our Executive Vice President, Márcio Félix. Please, Márcio.
Thanks, Juliana. It's a great pleasure to be here in a very special session with our Canadian friends. There's a lot of connections between Brazil and Canada, especially regarding onshore activities. I believe that this afternoon we will exchange some experience, some new connections will be explored. And so I'm here. There's a lot of people to speak this afternoon. So I'd like just to say welcome, to have a very kind and very warm welcome to Brazil, to our winter time, but it seems summer these days. So I had the opportunity to visit Canada for a few times, but it's very, very nice country, very nice people, and a lot of skills and knowledge in oil and gas that is very important for Brazil, for the challenges we have now in exploration production onshore. Not only that, but in the midstream, downstream, and the energy transition and so on. So we have a lot of things to exchange and to learn with our Canadian friends. So I hope we have a very, very nice participation, and that thanks Nadine as well to organize it with the ONIP. Juliana she's being our hostess today. And so I'm very happy and proud and anxious to hear from all of you. Thank you very much. Have a nice venue.
Thank you, Márcio. Thank you, Márcio. And now, please, with the words, Anabal Santos from ABPIP. Please, Anabal. Anabal is here, or maybe he has a problem, I don't know, with the connection.
I'm sorry, I'm not, my microphone was mute, sorry. Thanks, Juliana, begin again. Thanks, Juliana. I agree 100% with Márcio's words about our relationship with Canadian people. So I would like to say we are very happy with this webinar, and thank you for coming and participating in this webinar. You are welcome to Brazil Oil and Gas Circuit, this webinar. First, I would like to present ABPIP. I am Anabal Santos, the Executive Secretary for the ABPIP, the Brazilian Association of Independent Oil and Gas Producers. We have 14 years and about 25 affiliates. Part of it is 14 are operators, and we have some here. And the other are service and material supply companies. Our affiliates work in onshore and offshore fields, particularly in the shallow waters. We have already some Canadian companies in our team, like ABPIP, Maha, and the past Grancherra and Brasil. I would like to make some words about our scenario today, current scenario in Brazil. Probably everybody know, but I would like to reinforce that we have a huge transformation in our market during the Petrobras investment program, especially for the onshore and shallow water farm in, farm out. and beyond the legal and the regulatory change. I'm suggesting and recommending the Brazilian official publication called Doing Business in Brazil Onshore Environment. It's a very good report for this current scenario, and available at the Ministry of Mining and Energy website. During the webinar, I will put the link here in the chat for our Canadian speaker here. Historically, ABPIP lead large part of this effort to mobilize the country to these changes. And several people and the other entities helped a lot. But it's necessary to highlight the effort, the ONIP support on this effort. ONIP is a long time partner of ABPIP, and especially for Márcio Felix, my colleague today in CBU here. Important is referred to the Canadian consulate effort during almost 10 years to approximate our country and the respective companies. In particular, the great job done in Nadine Lopes by Nadine Lopes. I remember that we very well received in the GPS, where Brazil organized 2 missions, and at that time Nadine was very helpful. And I remember too, Nadine also bringing some Canadian mission for our event here in Brazil. I would like to save some minutes too, to give more time for our invite speaker today. But I would like to say, normally in this webinar, I report a brief update of some issues related to the Brazilian transformation environment that I before mentioned. We have some initiatives for oil reduction, simplifying the process of the environment license, and other issues that we are going on. So I'm very happy too with the idea to have this technical seminar, because it's a very relevant issue for our company, our country, that we need to make the best effort that we can to improve our recovery factor of our reservoir. So as I mentioned before, I will save some minutes, because as Márcio mentioned before, we have too much interest to hear about these techniques. So Juliana, thanks for the time, and I return to you to proceed the webinar.
Thank you so much, Anabal. And now with the words, our partner in this event, Nadine Lopes from the Government of Canada. Please, Nadine.
Nadine is mute.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I apologize. Sorry, I'm using 2 computers here. Anyway, I would like to thank ONIP and ABPIP and our Canadian speakers for all their efforts, for all the efforts that were made to make this webinar on enhanced oil recovery a reality. We are very happy that we have finally been able to put this together. As some of you may know, the Government of Canada, through the Consulate General of Canada in Rio, has been working strongly over the last more than a decade, I would say, with the onshore community in Brazil, trying to foster business opportunities, trying to help Canadian companies do business in Brazil, and help the Brazilian companies through trying to introduce partners or suppliers. So we're very happy. I'm not going to say much. I just want to thank the organizers again, ONIP and ABPIP. I believe this can be the beginning of a very fruitful relationship between Brazil and Canada in the onshore segment, not only with respect to the subject of today's webinar, enhanced oil recovery, but in every aspect of the onshore segment. And I believe that the new environment, the new scenario that is being born in Brazil right now with the privatization of the onshore segment can really bring very good opportunities both to Brazil and Canada, where a win-win game can be placed or established. So I hope everybody has a great webinar. So Juliana, over to you for our first speaker of the webinar. Thank you again, guys. Have a great webinar.
Thank you, Nadine. And now we start with our guest. And we are happy to receive today Décio Odoni, a big name in the Brazilian market with years of experience. Thank you so much, Décio, please.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with old friends, Marcio, Anabal, Nadine, Juliana, with the ONIP, ABPIP, and our Canadian friends as well. I would like to start by giving a little bit of context so the other speakers, they can develop the issue. Brazil was a monopoly for decades. And when Petrobras discovered oil offshore, especially deep offshore in the Campos Basin, most of the research that the company had were focused in the development of those fields. Then we start seeing by the 90s investments influx flowing to the offshore, and the first discussions on selling the old mature fields in the northeast onshore in Brazil start to appear. But politically, in the beginning of the 2000s, it was not possible it was not possible at the time to advance with this process. So during about 10 years, we stayed in a process that Petrobras continued to operate those small fields, and we discovered very big reserves in the pre-salt. And then all the focus of Petrobras started to change again in direction of the pre-salt reserves. In 2014, we have two big events in Brazil. The Petrobras crisis, corruption scandal, leverage, and at the end of the year, in 2015, the crash in the oil prices. So when we compare what happened in the onshore fields, we can verify a strong and very deep reduction in the production, in the range of 40 to 60% in most of the regions. And by 2016, Marcio joined the government as Secretary of Oil, Natural Gas and Biofuels, and a few months later I joined as the General Director for the agency. And we had an objective at that time, which was to move this industry and to change this situation. Then we start taking a series of measures in order to change that. We established a bidding round calendar. We established a new process called permanent offering. It's a kind of open acreage in which companies can offer for a block anytime. Then a series of small legal measures like royalty reduction, reduction of royalties for incremental production, reserve-based lending, simplifying the contracts and guarantees, and more recently decommissioning and abandonment rules. We started doing road shows. I myself went to Calgary, I remember, in beginning of 2018, if I'm not mistaken, and ANP and the Brazilian government, together with the consulate here, ONIP and Firjan, made several task forces that visit Canada during those big fairs that you have there in the summertime. And eventually in 2018, the agency decided to give deadlines for Petrobras to complete the divestment program in these 250 mature fields onshore and in shallow water. And this process started to pick up and to be concluded. We saw some postponements, but now we are in a process that is very, very fast, and we are fortunately seeing the first good results of all this process. A series of old and mature fields are now being operated for other companies, newcomers that have acquired from Petrobras. We have seen the first initial results, and I'm quite sure that this process will continue in the years to come. With this, I conclude the introduction, and I'm looking forward to hear the other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Décio. Juliana, shall I introduce the next Canadian speaker?
Yes, please, Nadine.
Okay. So I would like to invite now the first speaker from Saskatchewan Research Council, Mr. Petro Nakutny. Petro holds a master degree in petroleum engineer. He's the manager of SRC's Enhanced Oil Recovery Processes Business Unit, and his major technical responsibility is to conduct applied research and development of EOR processes and laboratory engineering designed for the petroleum industry's projects, EOR projects. Pedro, over to you now. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you to the organizers. It's a great event. I'm looking forward to meeting new friends and continuing discussions. So my presentation is very brief today. Let me see if I can share my screen. So I hope that you can see the presentation now. As Nadine said, I'm a manager at the Saskatchewan Research Council. My name is Petro, so it's I hear you're talking about Petrobras, and I guess I'm Petro-Canada, but I do not work for Petro-Canada. Our organization, Saskatchewan Research Council, is a provincial research and development organization in Canada. We are the largest organization like this in Canada. We've been around for well over 50 years. We are owned by the government of Saskatchewan, so a local provincial government here. And we work across several different industries and with more than 20 countries around the world. Our primary focus is on oil and gas, mining, and agriculture, because those are the industries that are most active in Saskatchewan. But like I said, we are not limited to working with local companies. We do collaborate with different clients and companies around the world. So just a quick slide about Canadian oil reserves. I'm sure my colleagues from Canada will be talking about some of this in the subsequent presentations. But as you well know, Canada has some of the largest reserves in the world. We are the fourth largest producer and the fourth largest exporter in the world, and our reserves are second or third, depending on how you calculate. So most of those reserves are in oil sands. But a good chunk comes from conventional, tight, offshore, onshore, shale fields. So because of this, we do have a lot of experience working in this variety of different fields. And we have had an opportunity to apply different technologies and help gain companies in Canada and around the world to do so. So our main objective here at SRC is to help our clients and our partners succeed. And we do that by having a very specific approach to working with the clients. We work with technology providers, with small companies, large companies. state-owned companies and private companies. And again, our goal is to help them to de-risk the technology as fast as possible without investing too much money and time. And we do that with a stage-gated approach. Initially, we assess the technology in the field, and we try to understand what is the potential as soon as we can, so we can move on to the next stage, which would be laboratory and numerical evaluation testing. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the next few slides. And then we can help the companies to take that technology and apply it in the field, and we can help them again with implementation, design, and ongoing operation. So I have just a couple slides about different main EOR, enhanced oil recovery technologies that are being used in Canada. So in tight oil, that is gas flooding, is very hot now. A lot of companies are looking into trying to use CO2 and things like flue gas, produced gas to improve recovery. And improved water flooding is also a big topic. We are looking into a variety of different additives that could help. And thermal is something that's being investigated. So for conventional and heavy oil, we can do all that as well. We can do gas and water flooding. There is also polymer flooding. Conformance control is a big topic in chemical, and solvent and hybrid processes. This is again where one of the major expertise in Saskatchewan we have is in improving processes such as SACD and solvent flooding and making them more effective. So our more technical approach is to work with our clients to collect as much data as we can about their fields and about similar fields and technologies that we applied in the past. We can help them with preliminary economic assessment, laboratory analysis, numerical simulation, and like I mentioned, is a pilot design and implementation. So one of the specializations of at SRC here is custom-built physical modeling. What we discovered that especially with unconventional fields, such as very tight fields or hybrid processes in oil sand, share in 5 minutes, but we are only phone call away. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to the discussion and the next speakers.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And now it is a pleasure to receive today Luciana Borges, Country Manager, and Jonas Lindsball, Global CEO from Maha Energy. Please, Luciana, it's over to you now.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, you all. So first of all, I would like to thank you guys and thank you, ONIP and also Nadine, for the invitation to participate in this event. It is really a pleasure to share with all of you in this event. So I am Luciana Borges, General Director for Maha Brazil. Maha is a Swedish company, but the company was originally founded in Canada, in Calgary, back in 2013. So I guess we are half Canadian, I can tell. Our headquarters is really located in Canada so far, so I can say that. So our company, our main focus is really to maximize maturing oil fields by implementing EOR technologies. That's our goal. Currently, we do have a portfolio in US and also Brazil. So talking specifically about Brazil, we have Tartaruga and TF fields. They are located in Bahia and also in Sergipe. And those are our producing fields that we currently have We are working now to maximize production on these fields, and that's really our main goal for the next 2 years. We have a lot of challenges, which is normal for this operation. And I will hand over to Jonas Lindeval, which is our global CEO, just to share with all of you some of these challenges that we used to face here in our operations in Brazil. So Jonas.
Thanks, Luciana, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I'll try to be brief. I don't know what I can add to Luciana. I think you stole my thunder, but I hope you can see our screen. Let's see here if I can. I will get right to the meat of it. If I can here, there we go. You should see a presentation that says enhanced oil recovery in onshore mature fields, and I hope you can. So Luciana mentioned we are a Swedish company. We originally started here in Canada. We're still here in Canada. And I'm originally from Sweden, and if the Canadian government gets back to work anytime soon, I should be a citizen pretty soon. So we can boast about being truly Canadian. I'm not going to waste much time on the company metrics, given the time constraints that we have. All this information is available on our website. Luciana mentioned that we do have 4 assets, 2 in the United States and 2 in Brazil. They're all onshore, and we are strictly a petroleum engineering company. We're a producer, oil and gas producer, but we really focus on enhanced oil recovery. That's where that's our pride and joy. To that extent, we do have some interesting assets in the U.S., which is sort of the cradle of the oil and gas business. And I would say Canada really is at the forefront of enhanced oil recovery technologies because of the geological features that are here in Canada, which has sort of necessitated that requirement. But let me make a case. I'm going to make a case example here, or a case study. This was our first acquisition in Brazil back in 2016-17, and you can see the Tartaruga field, or the concession, in yellow on the map there. We're surrounded by great neighbors. Petrobras have discovered a lot of oil in this area. It's in the Sergipe-Alagoas basin, and although the block looks to be offshore, the majority of the block is indeed offshore, but we drill and produce from onshore. So we use directional drilling technology to access the subsurface and the underground oil from the beach. So that reduces the cost quite significantly. Right now we're producing oil from this field. It's an old field. It was originally discovered in 1998 by Petrobras, 94 by Petrobras, and has produced well over 1 million barrels to date. The challenges there, as we'll see on the next slide, is we have multiple zones. We have high gas oil ratio. There's an issue with getting rid of the oil or transporting the oil to the market. There's no pipeline system in place, and it is an environmentally sensitive area. So we had to address all these challenges when we came in 2017. As we'll see on the next slide here, I'll pop over real quick. On the right-hand side, you'll see a simplified stratigraphic column of the Penedo sand, which contains the oil in the Tartaruga field. It consists of multiple oil-bearing sands. The total thickness of the Penedo is well over 300 meters, and is divided into 27 different layers. So the question is, how do we extract oil out of those 27 layers the most effective? And so stimulation comes to immediate mind, and we've used stimulation in terms of hydraulic fracturing to great success there. If we look at the production chart in the middle of the screen there, like I said, this field was originally discovered in 1994 and was run by Petrobras up until mid-2000s, where our predecessors came in and drilled another well, and production increased. Inside the circle, you can see the production, which is the area under the curve. amounts to about 50% of the total production. And if we look at when we came in, when Maha took over back in 2017, we have since then increased production by 3 times, and we have produced almost 30% of the total oil to date. So from existing wells, we have not drilled any new wells that we have been producing from. So this just goes to show that a lot can be done with existing infrastructure and existing wells onshore Brazil. We really like Brazil in terms of a petroleum engineering standpoint because there's so much untapped fruit, and this is just one of the examples. We have employed in Tartaruga also horizontal drilling, which has been around the industry for a long time, but it is well suited in this particular case, and that coupled with hydraulic fracturing will unlock this hydrocarbon resource that sits underneath the ocean floor there in Aracaju. So that really concludes our presentation real quickly. I just wanted to sort of give you a case example of how enhanced oil recovery technologies can be used. My colleague Petro mentioned the gas injection here in Canada. We are doing something very similar at our other field in Bahia, also onshore. But that maybe that's a story for some other time. So thank you for your attention.
Nadine, your audio, we can't listen to you. I'm sorry. Can you turn on?
Juliana, please call the next speaker so while Nadine gives away.
Yes, please.
I can't do it. I don't know what happened. I apologize. I really don't know what happened, but let's go. So let's go to the next Canadian speaker, our second. So I would like to invite Dr. Gökhan Kostuner, who holds a bachelor degree from the Middle East Technical University in Turkey and a master and PhD degrees from the University of Alberta, all in petroleum engineer. Dr. Gökhan has over 30 years of industry experience and currently works as an independent consultant. Dr. Gökhan, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. I will quickly share my screen with you, and I assume you should be able to see it now. I will try to keep it to 5 minutes, which is not a very long time. Hopefully it will be sufficient. At least it'll give you an idea of, kinds of things that are done in Canada. So I thought I would kind of focus today on the heavy oil technologies. As it was mentioned, great majority of the reserves in Canada are heavy oil. Oil sands, is part of it. There is a very significant part of what we call heavy oil in the, let's say, less than 100,000 centipoise range around Lloydminster in Alberta and Saskatchewan as well. So I will tell you a little bit about, kind of the practical stuff that has been done. So for kind of lighter heavy oils, one of the technologies that has been used here for a long time is kind of your base water flooding. If you look at kind of traditional screening criteria, quite often we find that, water flooding is not going to work well for heavy oil reservoirs. And because of the adverse viscosity ratios. However, the history has proven the traditional kind of screening criteria wrong. If you know how to kind of handle large amounts of water you can get very good recoveries from these reservoirs. I have a plot here, recovery factor versus, viscosity. And you can see that, it goes up to, let's say, 4,000 or 5,000 centipoise. And you can still get, recoveries in the 20-30% range. The trick, though, is being able to handle large amounts of water. More than half the oil is produced above 90% water cut. So really, it's a water-producing operation with a side product of oil, is what this is. Now, we can also look at polymer flooding to kind of improve the viscosity ratio a little bit. Again, the traditional screening criteria will tell you that, anything below 200 centipoise oil viscosity, you can use it, but not above. Again, as I mentioned, that is incorrect, and it's kind of outdated screening criteria. And the experience indicates that, we have done this here in Pelican Lake, for instance, with horizontal wells. 5,000 centipoise oil can still respond fairly positively to, polymer flooding. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, we have bitumen, which is over 1 million centipoise oil. So the only technology that's available there are the thermal technologies. The two kind of main ones here I kind of bolded, steam-assisted gravity drainage, SAGD, and cyclic steam stimulation, CSS. I showed the SAGD here. Basically, SAGD is two horizontal wells, one above each other, normally 5 meters apart. You inject steam in the well in the top. It kind of goes up, heats the oil drains down to the producer, and gravity drains, and we produce it. So this technology has been very successful, and Canada today, with these two thermal technologies, produces something like 1.5 million barrels a day of oil, bitumen. There are different variations, solvent-assisted, SAGD. You can inject a little bit of solvent or more with the steam. Steam-assisted gas push, injecting non-condensable gas. Enhanced modified steam and gas push, which is what this is. You're injecting solvent, but also you have these infill horizontal wells in between the SAGD wells to kind of help you with production. And then another variant is to use vertical injectors to inject the steam and use horizontal producers. So all of these are in various forms, are used, tested, verified, and so on. Now, the second kind of very widely used technology is cyclic steam stimulation. So this is a single well technology. It's huff and puff. We inject and produce from the same well. Different variants, high pressure CSS, so you can go above the frac pressure. Liquid addition to steam for enhanced recovery, so liquid solvent addition, or mixed well, steam drive and drainage, kind of end of the life process as a follow-up. And then you can kind of combine these two technologies in something called hybrid SAGD, which I actually patented. So it's kind of a combination of CSS. You start with CSS to kind of speed up the process, and then switch to SAGD once the reservoir is warmed up. And then VAPEX is again, it's a similar arrangement, except you're now injecting pure solvent, either cold or hot. And then there is a variation on that one too. So we kind of captured the two ends of the spectrum. 1 minute, says Nadine. Okay. And so for things in between, there are various other technologies. Again, while the literature says it is not applicable, in fact, we have proven that wrong. And you can kind of use cyclic CO2 injection, where the CO2 is going to come from. We have actually done CO2 capture pilots, plants, and there's quite a bit of knowledge on that area. And there are a number of other processes that can be used. And I've shown here, field facilities for hot water vapor, cyclic steam stimulation. There is a conference coming up, SP Canada Heavy Oil Conference at the end of the month. And I have 2 papers there if you want to find out more about these processes. And I will leave you with one final thought, which is, when it comes to heavy oil, conventional EOR screening criteria are not always applicable. So we have to kind of keep that in mind and keep an open mind. And existing and novel technologies provide many opportunities for increased oil recovery. And you can contact Nadine if you want to talk more about this stuff. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Golkan. Now I would like to invite our next speaker from Interface Fluidics. I would like to invite Mr. Stuart Kenyer, CEO of Interface Fluidics. Stuart holds a Master's of Business Administration with a specialization in international business and a bachelor's degree in music performance from the University of Victoria. He has over a decade leading teams in the oil and gas industry. Stuart, over to you.
Thanks so much for the introduction, everybody, and great to be here today to share what we do at Interface. I just wanted to start off. I hold a soft space in my heart for Brazil. The last time I was there, I was doing my final project for my MBA on. There's a Canadian company that was getting into the oil and gas industry in Brazil about almost 10 years ago now. And so that was a great experience and something I hold a close place in my heart for the energy industry in Brazil. I will share my screen here. And so today my goal is to help you to understand what it is that we do at Interface, how we're asking people to change the way that they think about enhanced oil recovery and the enhanced oil recovery screening process so that we can do this faster and cheaper than it's ever been done before. And my presentation will go. Yeah, so we are a company based in Calgary, Alberta, and in Edmonton, Alberta, based in the National Institute for Nanotechnology. So that's a Canadian national research organization that hosts us. And our goal is to make extreme condition fluid analysis ubiquitous and accessible. So we want this to be easy to get at, and we think everybody should be using it. We've been in business for about 5 years now, and we've done everything from enhanced oil recovery in SAGD, where we started, but we've branched out and we've helped people optimize hydraulic fracturing fluids, SAGD, solvent situations, offshore conventional, and we've recently brought to market some alternatives for traditional phase behavior. We were really proud to be featured on the cover of Journal Petroleum Technology just about 2 years ago now with our hydraulic fracturing. So if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to talk about that. So our technology platform is something that's been around for a very long time, but what we've done is actually take a research tool and make it into something that's actually operational by making it high pressure, high temperature, and applicable to any reservoir in the world. What it is taking micromodels and allowing us to actually visualize and see how fluid flows in porous media underground. This technology has been used by these companies, among many others. About a year ago, Equinor took an equity position in the company when we raised our Series A financing. And so we're working closely with the engineers at Equinor and obviously lots of these great customers as well to help them solve enhanced oil recovery and other issues, other reservoir engineering issues. So the technology that we use, we call it a reservoir analog. And what it is a two-dimensional porous media that we create in our clean rooms, where we match the pore throat size, we use real oil and real water, and we modify the surface of these devices to be representative of your reservoirs. And so you can think of this as a core flood where the porous media is controlled. And so we use these controlled porous media to perform experiments like quantifying polymer flooding, hydraulic fracturing fluid additives, and do phase behavior studies. So if we've worked with oils and reservoirs around the world, from everything from 9 API to more than 40. We work in nano-Darcy to multiple Darcys, conventional, unconventional, and unconsolidated sands. And we work with live samples and dead samples. We've helped people optimize polymer flooding, gas injection, water flooding, using nanoparticles, many other applications. So it's a really diverse technology that is aimed to short circuit the development and deployment process in the field. So I'll talk today about our enhanced oil recovery primarily, where we help people optimize chemical loadings, reduce the time to implementation, and give a third-party validation of the claims that their vendors make. So in our polymer screening here, we're able to determine pore throat size effects on performance of polymers, as well as optimize slug size, injection rates. And what we've seen when we work with our customers is it pays back in as little as 20 days. So I'm going to play a video here. And what we've got is a 1.3 Darcy reservoir analog out of an Oman-based reservoir, where we're flooding heavy oil with water, followed by brine, or followed by polymer, and then an additional brine flood. So this experiment takes 4 to 6 hours to run, as opposed to the weeks that it would normally take to run with a core flood. And we're able to generate an understanding of how do different molecular weights or pore throat sizes affect our recovery factors with this particular product. So what we're seeing here is the ability to optimize chemistry based on a few hours of work as opposed to weeks. And as you can imagine, that's also much cheaper. And then I'm going to keep trying and clicking. There we go. So on the flow assurance side, our customers often want to know, if I inject this product or produce at this temperature or pressure, am I going to have issues? And so an example of this is in Alberta here. It gets much colder than it does in Brazil. And people wanted to know, if I inject cold hydraulic fracturing fluid into a paraffinic reservoir, am I going to have permeability damage from that cold fluid? And what you can see here is actually, we take images using our microscopes, and using cross-polar microscopy, we can actually see the wax particles as they appear and disappear inside the porous media. And you can see on the right there, at 80 degrees Celsius, we're flowing at a rate of 12 nanoliters per minute. You drop that, as soon as you drop the temperature, you virtually block off the porous media. But then when we bring it back up to 80 degrees, you can see we still have damage that is irreversible based on temperature. And so we are causing reservoir damage based on the temperature of the fluids that we're injecting. So that lets our customers understand, either I need to prevent this from happening in the first place, or I need to remediate that damage if it's material to my business. And again, this experiment takes us a matter of hours to perform. And so it's not a long, drawn-out development cycle like you would normally have. The last piece I'll show here is a bit of the thing we're one of the most excited about these days is a replace. I heard a few of the other speakers talk about miscible gas injection or other gas injection. The slim tube experiment is the standard method for determining these properties, but it takes weeks, months in order to get one data point. And what we've done at Interface is design a system that can actually replicate the results you get from a slim tube, but we do it in a matter of about 20 minutes. So instead of spending $100,000 on a slim tube experiment, you can spend a few $1,000s with Interface and get your answers in a few days. This technology was developed in partnership with Equinor and has been validated on Norwegian samples as well as samples from the US. So you can see these are our microfluidic devices in the top right there. You can see that's the schematic of our test. And really what we're able to measure here is multi-contact miscibility in 15 minutes using less than 1 milliliter of live sample. And we're able to actually put error bars on miscibility measurements for the first time ever. So we get 2.5 bar accuracy, which is about 30 PSI on your minimum miscibility pressure. And that means you can actually screen for not just CO2 or your flue gas, but what do different contaminants in that system, how do they affect your miscibility? So you can make sure you're actually injecting at miscible conditions 100% of the time. And so there's no need to guess anymore. So you can see here a video, we've got miscible versus immiscible gas injection and oil recovery. Thanks for the reminder. That's it for me. I'll back up here. So at the end of the day, at Interface, our goal is to help our customers get answers to their reservoir engineering problems as fast as they possibly can, using a fraction of the investment in time and money. And so I'd encourage you to give me a call or send me an email, because I think we have the solution to the problem that you're looking to answer. So thanks very much, and appreciate the opportunity to present here.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. And now we are happy to introduce for the second time in our event, Miguel Nunes, Director of Imetame. Please, Miguel, it's over to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the invitation. I'm really honored to be here with all friends and new friends. I'm going to share my screen to do my presentation. Oops. Okay, I guess right now you are watching my presentation, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about the Imetame group. Imetame was founded in 1980 in this small site. Actually, we have a big size. We have 3 different companies in the 4 different companies in the group, and one of these company is Imetame Energia. We want to talk about that. Okay, that is our location access. The gray square are our exploration block. The green square are our production fields, and I'm going to talk about our main assets. By far, our main assets is Cardenal do Nordeste and Cardenal Amarelo. This is a gas field where we using the philosophy of reservoir to wire. That means all the gas we producing here feed our power plant, okay? So in this case, we started the production in 2018 with 28 megawatts in Tamasari, the Concombre Basin. We have a license for 122 megawatts, okay? So that means we want to expand the Prosperidad complex to another 2 power plants. This Prosperidad 2, we already won the auction A-C the last year for 37 megawatts, and hopefully we should won the Prosperidad 3. The auction should be next year, okay? Also, we have a Garapampina field in Potiguar Basin. That field is so important for us. Even though the production is very low, I mean, we are producing there around 200 equivalent barrels per day. This field is our big lab. All our pilots are testing in this field. So right now we are testing a pilot water injection project there. Okay. And the new assets for 2020, we bought the Petrobras Lagoa Parda cluster, which is composed for Lagoa Parda Norte, and Lagoa Piabaña. That is a mature field, okay? And what we're trying to do here is increase the production. Actually, the production is 150 barrels per day. What we're planning to do here is start doing workover and changing the lifting. Okay. So our CapEx for 21 to 25 is around 120 millions of dollars, okay? In difference, we want to drill wells, work over, we want to build up 2 power plants, and we want to expand our facilities, okay? Our strategy is, first of all, we need to do optimization, automation of all our field, okay? Then, we want to start doing ER and infill projects. Also, we're planning to change the artificial lift technology from rock pumping to ESP. While, for example, in Lagoa Parda, we producing with 90% of water cut. However, we want to produce a lot of water, but we want to producing a lot of oil as well, changing the lifting technology. We want to expand the implementation and optimization of the water injection. We want to start testing technology of thermal, technology for EOR. We want to start doing in-field drilling, testing different technology, monobore, slim well, and also we are using the existing facility in order to gathering all our production to a existing facility. That means satellite development. One of the big examples right now is we do a discovery in Espírito Santo Basin, and we plan to take this oil to Lagoa Parda facility when we have plenty space to process this oil. So how are we going to find new oil in oil field? We want to do e-operation strategy. We want to do in-field drilling and re-exploration. And this is re-exploration is a backyard exploration. We want to try to find new oil in the same place in order to use the facilities we already have. We want to optimize our artificial lifting, and finally, we want to improve our water injection. We start testing enhanced oil recovery, and as I am from Venezuela, I try to bring our experience in situ combustion in Brazil. Nadine told me how you can talk about the future of oil and gas. When she said that, I said, come on, it's very hard because I don't have a crystal ball. However, one of these different is the future could be blurring the lines between fossil and renewable energy. So when we start looking for that, we find the future is now. For example, here is Ponta do Meio field, which is an oil field. Also, in the same place, we have solar energy park Area Branca, which is another company, which is at the same place. And we also have the wind complex Area Branca. So everything, renewable and fossil energy working together. And to finish my presentation, I'm gonna leave this quote. I guess it's a Humphrey Schaller, or at least I heard that quote from him. Oil is always discovery in new basins with new ideas. Oil can be discovered in all basins with new ideas. However, oil will never be discovered in all basins with all ideas. And I guess we summarize in this thinking my presentation. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Miguel. Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Darcy Shady from General Magnetic. Can you hear me? Sorry. We have a background noise. I think it's better now. Juliana, is everybody listening?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, right. So as I was saying, I would like to invite Mr. Darcy Spady from General Magnetic, our next speaker. Mr. Spady is the Global Senior Technical Advisor for General Magnetic. as well as the managing partner of Carbon Connect International. Interesting information here. He was the global president of SPE in 2018, the first Canadian to do so. Mr. Spady, it's your turn now. Over to you.
Bom dia. Obrigado, Nadine. Obrigado, Juliana. And that's all the Portuguese I know. Thank you so much for inviting me. And of course, with me, I have the very familiar face to the Calgarians. El Dewar is the CEO of General Magnetic. And we've been in the COVID bubble together for a couple of months, so we can sit a meter apart. Let me just share my screen. I'm assuming everybody can see that. Gene, can I get a thumbs up? Yes? Okay. After you've done the good work, I really like to be in the same place as all of the high-profile people today, many of whom I know, including Dr. Joskener, who graded my papers when I was in university. I'm still trying to be a better student. Go Can. After you've done your small-scale testing with interface fluidics, and after you've done your large-scale testing with Saskatchewan Research Council, and after you've got your consultation complete with Dr. Joskener, then you can worry about how you're going to lift your fluid out of the ground. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, is the General Magnetic products, actually, that are both involved in energy efficiency and methane emission reductions. So the focus today, of course, is going to be the big permanent magnet motor pump drive, but we also have a tiny permanent magnet motor that is a actuator energy device that can put solar chemical injection pumps into gas fields and other places, replacing pneumatics. So there's big pumps and little pumps in General Magnetic. It's a company that's vertically integrated. We do all of our R&D, we do testing, we do our own manufacturing, and right down to the customer support. We do it all, and it's a Calgary company. I'm going to try and advance here. There we go. That should work. So why a permanent magnet top drive? Well, here's a typical conventional top drive, of which in heavier oil environments, there are many of these. And there's a lot of moving parts to these devices. As you can see here, there's clamps and gearboxes and brakes and motors and belts, and it hangs off center off the top of that pump or well. And what General Magnetic offers with the Magno Drive is essentially a very simplistic device that only has 3 main parts, and it goes directly on top of the well. It's not off center. It's a permanent magnet motor with a lot of benefits. So that's really what we want to talk about today in the EOR environments, where efficiency is often key. To have a decreased power consumption is very critical. As well, there's a very large range of torques that can be performed without any sort of changing of belts and shivs and things like this. So traditionally, we have the system that has low efficiency motors with mechanical advantages that make it work. So a low efficiency motor that has drives and belts, a lot more downtime, more difficult to install and remove, more rotating parts. And we're talking about a permanent magnet motor drive that is very simplistic, very high efficiency. Consumption numbers I'll get to in the next page that are significantly better. So in markets like Brazil, where the power cost is very high, it makes a lot of sense. Maintenance is extremely simple. A visit once a year is probably all you need. and much easier to install and remove, has an electronic brake in it, just less moving parts. Some of the places we've done there's a number of these pumps in Canada, of course, but some of the places in the world where we've installed and done projects with these pumps are more in the range of extreme temperatures. So this works very efficiently, anywhere from -40 to +40, and we've got a couple that have been running in Colombia, La Sierra field, Casabi field, and the numbers we're getting back where the key performance indicators were met and energy savings in the 20-something% range. There's currently one demo ongoing in Kuwait, and we're talking about, somebody is saying there's energy savings as high as 37%. I'll go with a 3 to start the number, but really significant energy savings, and maintenance isn't even an issue. So around the world, including in Canada, we've seen everywhere from 10 to 20 to 30% efficiency on the energy savings. These drives are certified to the highest possible standards. You can see a list of the standards there. And overall, what we've got, especially in EOR situations where there's a lot of wells, there's a lot of changes to the flow rate, there's a lot of necessities for high capital and high operational expenses. A permanent magnet Magno drive pump is definitely something that I think has some big efficiencies, especially in the energy side, as well as with some of the heavier oils, if they exist in your portfolio. The ability to torque these pumps to a very high level is key. So I think that's about my 5-minute mark. Najini, I will turn it over to you unless Al has something to interrupt on.
No, that's fine. We can certainly have some questions if there are some later. Thank you.
Thanks, Najini.
Thank you, Darcy and Al. Well, so now I would like to invite our last Canadian speaker, Mr. Jordan Brennan. He is the founder, president, and CEO of Same6 Technologies. With over 20 years experience in the oil and gas industry. Jordan, over to you.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jordan Brennan. I'm one of the founders and the president of Stim6 Technologies, Inc. here in Calgary, Canada. We build our tools here in Canada and we distribute them around the world. What we've been able to do at Stim6 is develop a way to deliver acid to the near wellbore in a more efficient, cost-effective, safer, and environmentally friendlier manner. So we've been able to go into brownfields and stimulate multiple zone completions without using cup tools, coiled tubing, or diverters. And we do that by delivering the stim stick that you see in front of you downhole. The stim stick consists of a proprietary patented dry chemical hot acid right at that targeted interval. So we're able to treat that near wellbore with our hot acid and replace the large volumes of acid that we traditionally pump, the 50 to 150 gallons per foot, with the heat that we create while producing our acid at the interval. All right? Oh, sorry. Had a little bit of a glitch there. I apologize.
No, that's okay. Well, no problem.
The stim stick advantage, it's electric wire line conveyed for pinpoint accuracy. We're able to place that tool downhole over that interval and produce hot acid right at that targeted interval. It's rigless. It saves time and money. We reduce the footprint on location. We reduce the amount of vehicles, acid haulers, acid pumpers, You don't have to swab our acid back. We produce a low volume, so it reacts quickly and it dissipates quickly. The heated acid vapor is highly reactive for increased efficiency. So we're producing that acid at a temperature of 350 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, right at that targeted area. So what that does is it gives us a dissolution rates of calcites of anywhere between 4 to 5 times that of 15% HCl at a 75 degree Fahrenheit surface temperature. We minimize the environmental impact, so we reduce the chemical impact to the environment with our technology by up to 90%. It's also safer than traditional acidizing methods. There's no acid inside our tool. It's hermetically sealed. It doesn't produce acid until it's downhole over top of the interval. It's both available in HCl and HCl-HF blends. So we have a 12-to-3 mud acid and a 9-to-3 mud acid as well. It also comes in multiple sizes. We have a 2-inch through tubing tool, a 2 1/4, 3.5-inch tool. So we're able to do through tubing application offshore in a matter of about 10 to 15 minutes. So you'll see the bullnose. The dispersion tube is where the hot acid gas flows out during the chemical burn. The red tube is where we hermetically seal our dry chemical blend and bond it to inside. And then we have our firing head and our Hunting Titan select fire system as well. So it's very safe, very easy to use, and very easy to ship globally around the world. Here's an animation of it going in offshore. We do a lot of applications onshore around the world. The interesting thing, and I think top of that targeted interval, without disturbing that natural bottom hole pressure. So we'll put the tool over top of the interval, we'll ignite it. Once that acid starts to produce for that 10 to 15 minutes, we'll let that acid cloud start to build. And then we'll gravity feed or pump to overbalance that natural bottom hole pressure by about 100 liters to maybe half a barrel a minute. So we'll let that hot acid start to saturate that near wellbore, and then we'll just overpressure it a little bit so we can push it through that interval without causing the river effect that you would typically get while pumping large volumes of acid with a traditional acid job. The applications that we work on around the world are producing oil and gas well remediation, water injection and disposal well remediation, geothermal injection well remediation. We have the ability to perforate and acidize in one run. So we have an adapter that goes on the end of our stim stick. We're able to put a perforating gun on the bottom of our tool, run into the hole, shoot a perforating gun, and then selectively fire our stim stick and then acidize through that spent perforating gun and stimulate that near wellbore. We also do paraffin cleanout with the heat, pre-cement squeezes for plug-in abandonments or casing flow vent leaks. Another thing we do is pre-frac treatments to increase circulation pre-frac. Another application that isn't on here today is tubing restrictions, sliding sleeve restrictions, bottom hole assembly restrictions. We get a lot of inquiries about that as well. So that's our presentation for today. I'd like to thank all of you. I'd like to thank the Canadian Trade Commission for giving me this opportunity to present our technology. I'd like to thank all of you in Brazil for taking the time for hearing about our technology. If you would like to hear about it some more, just get a hold of us and we'd be more than happy to get together with some of our engineers and do a technical presentation for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you all for the amazing presentations today. We want to say that PetroRecôncavo had a problem in the last minute, so they had to cancel the presentation, but we hope to have a new presentation with them soon. Unfortunately, our time is really short right now, so we don't have the time to do all the questions that we want, but all the contacts will be available for the contacts in our website. But now, Décio, what do you think about the presentations today? Any comments?
Well, I think it was very interesting and very comprehensive. It gives a good idea what is going on in Brazil, what are the opportunities that we have here in Brazil, and the opportunities especially that we see for Canadian companies, and not only for upstream companies, but service companies as well, that can help us increasing our recovery factor. Just to end with numbers, when I was working for the agency, I like it to say that the worldwide average recovery is around 35% of the total oil in place. Worldwide, you have countries in which you see numbers as high as 50%. In Brazil, end of life is 21. In the Campos Basin, 24. So there is an enormous room for improvement, and a lot of low-hanging fruits that can be easily achieved in the years to come. So with these challenges, I leave you all very happy with the result of this encounter.
Thank you, Décio. What do you think? Any comments? Are you listening to me?
Juliana, can I ask a question?
Yes, please, Nadine.
I would like to direct this question to the operators, to the Brazilian operators, Maha and Imetame, so Luciana and Jonas and Miguel. Well, considering the current scenario of new opportunities, basically privatization of the onshore segment in Brazil, a number of new mature fields being acquired by independent operators, do you guys believe that there is space? I'm talking about technologies. In terms of technologies, is there a space for new solutions, for instance, from Canadian suppliers to enter the country, to enter the market and be able to work here to offer those solutions? What do you think? What is your assessment in terms of that?
Well, let me answer that real quickly. Then the quick answer is absolutely yes. Lots of opportunities. Brazil is a plethora of opportunities. We're very blessed that Maha came in when we did, and we're continually looking for more opportunities. But one of the things that we struggle with is the service support, and operating in North America, we are sometimes spoiled with all the technology that is at the arm very, very close by. And that is certainly something that I think will develop with time in Brazil, because Brazil is truly has the same resource base as United States and Canada. So with a diversification of companies coming in onshore, particularly onshore, I think we will see lots of innovation coming as well into the country. So I'm very, very optimistic for all these guys that are presented. I'm very, very happy actually to see that despite the very low oil price scenario we've had for the last 6 years, that people are still being very innovative here in Canada and the United States.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, trying to answer your question, of course, the answer is yes. There is a lot of possibility to bring new technology from Canada to Brazil. Of course, in our case, for example, we bought Lagoa Parda cluster from Petrobras. If we bought Lagoa Parda cluster from Petrobras to do the same thing that Petrobras was doing, don't make any sense. We have to change.
Miguel, you're with mute phone.
Sorry. So the answer is yes. Of course, there is a space for new technology here in Brazil. For example, we bought Lagoa Parda, and if we bought Lagoa Parda in order to do the same thing that Petrobras was doing there, don't make any sense. We have to change a lot. We have to change the way Petrobras was producing. We have to change the way Petrobras was using the technology in order to, decrease costs and increasing production. And the only way to do that is using technology. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Miguel. Please, Márcio, do you have any comments?
Thanks, Juliana. I guess we have some very interesting keywords that were pronounced this afternoon. Of course, one of them, I guess the most important, technology, cooperation, opportunities. I guess Norway has a lot of skills in heavy oil, in midstream facilities, in enhanced oil recovery as well. So I guess the approach in Brazil with very shallow waters, with extended reach well from the shore to the sea, to the underground below the sea. So there's a lot of opportunities to have almost the same size of our countries, our sedimentary bases, so our capabilities. So we have a lot of things to complement. There's a long way between Brazil and Canada. Some cultural difference but we are very, very close in the way that we are that we behave with in a very positive way. So I think this is one more step ahead in this cooperation between Canada and Brazil. Hopefully, we'll have next year Global Petroleum Show to visit there, to be in touch. But these webinars are very important. I suggest that we can have more from now till the next GPS. I guess we need to have so many people to talk, so a lot of things to discuss. So this is a technology-driven cooperation, and so with the environmental base, the social base, so it's very, very welcome. So thank you and congratulations to the Brazilian companies, Brazilian-born companies, Brazilian, Canadian-born companies, and the Canadian and the worldwide companies. So congratulations on your achievements. You are very welcome to Brazil. And I'm very happy to have you today, and our friend Décio that says a lot of things to exchange, to share with us regarding these possibilities Brazil has. So we need to challenge our frontiers, not only the pre-salt, but especially onshore. I guess this land is a promised one. Thank you.
Thank you, Márcio. We are almost in the end, and we want to say thank you again for this amazing and big event. Thank you, Nadine, for all the support, and for the final words, we invite Nadine, after Décio, after Anabal, and in the end, Márcio Félix. Please, Nadine.
Well, I would like to thank ONIP and ABPIP and everybody else again, Márcio, Décio, for your support to this initiative. I understand time is an issue, but I would like to say that this is not the end, but the beginning of a relationship, a stronger relationship between Canada and Brazil with regards to the onshore segment, to onshore operations, especially in Brazil now that we have the market being opened to private investment. So thank you again. We will follow up with the Canadian participants and probably proceed to introductions to the Brazilian companies today, presented today, as well as the other operators. I would like to say also that we are always open to talk to the Brazilian suppliers on possible partnership with the Canadian companies. This is something that we work very strongly in. We try to help Canadian companies identify partners. So stay tuned to the next webinars. Thank you again. And over to you again, Juliana. Thanks.
Please, Décio.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here in this seminar with you and to share all this challenge with everybody in the stream during these past few years. I think we have started the process. It's not completed yet, but it's a very, very fruitful relation that we are developing between Brazilian and Canadian companies. And as I said, the results will come. Thanks, Juliana. Thanks, Nadine, Anabal, Marcio, my friend and fellow during 3 years in the government. It is really a pleasure sharing these moments with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Anabal, your final words, please.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be present for this webinar. It's very rich information. And as everybody said, it's a great opportunity to share this moment of the Brazilian market. I would like to invite everybody because we will have a show. It's a fair in Mossoró. Mossoró, it's a city of Rio Grande do Norte. You have a Mossoró Oil and Gas Expo. It will be in November, in 24 to 26. This have a dual way. Is the presential and the virtual way. So maybe it will be opportune to continue the discussion and make this follow-up of this webinar. And it was very good information that we have here, and I'm very glad to participate on it. Thank you for all.
Thank you, Anabal. And now, Marcio, to close the event, please.
Yeah, thanks again, Juliana. I'd say just in final words that I'm very happy to have this one more step ahead in the relation between Brazil and Canada. And I'd say, of course, you are missing Karine this afternoon, but Juliana has played a very fundamental role here, so my congratulations. Karina, take care. And so very smooth, very light. So I guess so many people together is not easy to manage, but all of you are very precise in the timing, so I'm very happy to have this very successful venue this afternoon. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Marcio. Well, we arrived in the end, so thank you so much to stay with us. And next week at the same time, we will have one more event about Rio de Janeiro activities with operators and a debate about pre-salt and mature fields. Bye-bye. See you.